Boom. There you go. Folks, check out. Bye bye. Go. Did have install a new handrail on the bottom in the bathroom. A handrail. So I need to pull themselves by the bootstraps. Deleted Twitter, everyone follows getting banned. Yeah, I was like partially like attempted to maybe reinstate mine, but I don't give a fuck. I don't really give enough of a shit for it. Just organize myself. There we go. But yeah, I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, I could give a fuck about Twitter at this point. Just let it be the shithole that it is. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, like, anything that has to do with, like, the fascist far right and shit is pretty much, like, like, considered irrelevant and needs to be destroyed, as far as I'm concerned. So anything that, suckles up to that fucking Elon Musk fag boy tweet, like, Twitter mongering little bitch, or whatever the fuck, is an enemy of mine. So, I don't really care. If, a bunch of his sycophants want to suck his, like, weird ass little fucking billionaire shriveled up dick, on that fucking platform, at least I know where they are. At least I know how and who they fucking are and what they stand on. At least I know they're my fucking enemy. So, on that American who fought on the Eastern Front. So, honestly, I never got a chance to. I just kind of fucking spaced on it. I mean, I will admit, I still have it. Like, I still have it on my watch later. I just haven't fucking not gotten to it yet. Probably something worth, listening to right about now, honestly, not gonna lie, just all things considered. Because, like, especially when it comes to, like, these fucking far-right pieces of shit, like, they are pretty much adamant about like, having fucking war. And they're essentially adamant about having fucking, like, being on the total fucking offensive. So, like, honestly, any tips and tricks, it's probably a good thing to, kind of learn up a little bit about. Considering the fucking, brutal fucking violence and bloodshed that these fuckers advocate. All for the guise of protecting children. And fucking having to deal with, like, their fucking false literal lies and, delusional reality of, like, groomers and all this other shit. The only real groomers are them. When it comes to it at the end of the day, these fucking fascists and far-right Nazis, they're the actual groomers. Because which, it's like, which, churches and which fucking, religious organizations back the Nazis? Oh, that's right, Christians and Catholics. Catholics and Christians back the fucking Nazis, like the Catholic Church back the Nazis, and continue to propagate and solidify and enforce more of their fucking pedophilic sex trafficking. Curious. It's as if Nazis and pedophiles go hand in hand. And fucking and utter discrimination and utter elimination of those they deem undesirable because they can't accept their own selves. Liberated his own prison camp in a Lend-Lease Sherman tank. Dude's fucking based. So, a Lend-Lease Sherman tank that was given to the Russians, which, by the way, that means that the gears and all that shit inside are probably in Russian, not English. So, he's in a Sherman, might have a general idea about how it works, because, they're American tanks, but it's in Russian. So, it's like, bake that noodle. Dude's definitely a fucking, based crazy son of a bitch. Love it. Can we have more people like him? Because it seems like the war against fascism is alive and well, and, very adamant about wanting to show its fucking face again. So, we could use people like that again. He started off as paratrooper demolition guy. So, he was basically their, explosives expert type of guy. I think they were called sappers. Sapper. He was a sapper for a paratrooper regiment, basically. Because from what I understand, sappers are basically like the dudes that will, like kind of deal with like engineering when it comes to like tanks and, mines and stuff like that. On top of, dealing with bridges and taking out those mines and setting them up and stuff like that. And different demolitions and shit, if I remember correctly. New serial talk? Huh? Oh shit, Supreme Court told Trump F you. Oh, yeah, I saw a notification. Yeah, whatever. It's another thing, I like, honestly, like, these different things, like, between Trump and all that shit is irrelevant to me. So, like, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, there's kind of only one goal and one set priority in mind for me right now. Like, when it comes to addressing national politics, right, at this current time. Well, I guess technically, too. But they kind of both go hand in hand. And it's basically, well, preferably killing Nazis, but at least eliminating them from the country by getting them the fuck out of here or making them go back into the fucking rats in the sewer holes they fucking belong. But, since we can't have the World War II style of, dealing with them, then, make them undesirable for society and kick them the fuck out. And as far as I'm concerned, deport them from the fucking country. Oh, they're not a citizen somewhere else? Make them. Make it be some other government's problem. Make it be Hungary's problem as far as I'm concerned. So, as far as I'm concerned, until, if we want to actually have, a structural formation to actually have, any progress on fucking anything, then we need to eliminate fascism to its fucking roots. Period. Fundamentally. You can't have progress if that lingers, and if it's around in any political landscape and is allowed to propagate. And unfortunately, in America, not only has it been allowed to be propagated, it's been enabled by liberals and mainstream media and shit to be bolstered and propped up as a form of civility politics, to have a back and forth between the two extreme sides to, delegitimize progressives and leftism. So, fundamentally, as far as I'm concerned, I could give a fuck about what the establishment, has to do with, when it comes to, cracking down on Trump, because they're complicit with him. They all work hand in hand together. This is all a fucking show and a work to keep people distracted from the real fucking issues. Do you think they're gonna punch Trump? No, they're not. They never will. No ever sitting president's been fucking indicted on anything. So, you think Trump's gonna be different? Fuck no. Supreme Court might tell them to F you, but that's just so they could keep the veneer of civility. That's it. They're okay with him. They support him. They're fine with him being in power. In fact, the Democrats would actually love for Trump to probably be president again. Or to at least be in government. As a senator, maybe even. They love it. They want him. Democrats love him. They donated to his campaign, fuckers and shit. When it comes to, propping up his loyalists. It's all work. Because they're all fascists, all fucking, propagating, a fucking machine. And it needs to be fundamentally, from the inside out, destroyed. They're all fucking enemies, to the average fucking common man. As far as I'm concerned. Including the fucking Trump committee, the loyalists of Trump, the entire fucking establishment, including the Progressive Caucus, they're all the fucking enemy. As far as I'm concerned. Because at this point, I just don't recognize the authority of my government or of this country. I just don't recognize its authority. It has not established or have given me any form of trust or acknowledgement that I can, rely on it to, serve or protect me or actually, represent me. So, honestly, when it comes to that, that's where the whole quote-unquote vigilanteism or, community action and all this other shit comes into play. Is when the establishment fails and when the system fails. I recognize this monopoly on violence. That's the only reason why it's recognized in the first place. I won't even recognize, I will, obviously, because, you're going to recognize a barrel of gun right in your face whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not. But, when it comes to, accepting that authority, not anymore. If they want, people to not be so, radical or extreme, maybe they actually should fucking represent us. And then maybe things won't get so violent. Things won't get so crazy. Because when you got motherfuckers and outright Nazis literally going out and slaughtering gay folk out there and shit, and you got their commentators propagating it, and no one's basically doing a fuck all of a thing, what do you expect? Fundamentally, Like, what do you expect? When you have fascists and Nazis pushing their ideology through a barrel of a gun and through the blood of the dead of their undesirables that they deem, then what the fuck do you expect from the people who are looking on the other side of that barrel? People like me. You're gonna see them pick up arms, be, reactive, violently reactive, and see it as a fucking war. Because it is a fucking war. Like, because these people want me, you, and anyone else who is like progressive, lefty, or even liberal in their minds dead. And they want to see their blood run through the fucking streets like it's a fucking flash flood river. That's what they want. And then they'll play the victim and pretend you're the fucking problem and say, oh, you just say everybody's a Nazi or a fascist and this and that. It's like, well, maybe don't act like one. I won't be calling you that, you fucking pig. It's like, then maybe, you won't be called a fucking Nazi. Be lucky that, we have social media and the internet and shit, because then you get a fucking bat lynching. You get, like, bats beaten over your fucking head, lynched by, like, half the fucking town. So be lucky that you have fucking social media, bitch. Or else be singing away a different tune. Because, at least, when it came to things like, the Weimar Republic and shit, their social media was with MP18s and Car 98Ks, as, communists were tearing down fucking Kaiser Wilhelm's, statues and shit, and Nazis fucking shooting at them. That, like, their Charlottesville involved MP18s and Car 98s and shit, not tiki torches and fucking pitchforks. And guess what? It's all coming back around. Curious, isn't it? See, the Nazis started with Charlottesville. Back in the 30s, they started with Charlottesville. And look how that ended. And people accepted it, people enabled them, people allowed it to continue, they didn't crack down and destroy it from the root. And now look what happened. Nazis are rising again, and they're going to take over, unless we crush them. If only we could learn from history. All contents out there, nah, I'm not saying anything bad. No, not this time. No, I'm not saying anything that, is an incitement of violence or anything. I'm saying a defensive reaction of actual perpetrators of terrorism and violence. And I'm just saying, what do you expect when you have that happening and you have people who are looking at the end of the barrels of those fucking guns who are slaughtering them and shit? I'm saying, what do you expect here when you see those type of people who feel threatened to react? How do you expect them to react? Just sit there and take it? To just get shot? To just die? What do you expect? You expect them to probably, defend themselves. And that includes, and not limited to, arming up. And maybe shooting back. There's nothing insightful or threatening about that. That's just a reaction and a response as to say of like, if this happens, that happens. That's what I expect from myself. Well, that's why, hence my fucking point. It's like, if this is what, especially queer folk and lefties have to expect from the opposite side of the aisle and shit, then of course you're going to hear them talk about being more militant and, being more radical as lefties and anarchists and shit. And these fucking liberals, I want to condescend them and think they're more holier than thou and look down and smear those motherfuckers who happen to be more marginalized than these fucking pieces of shit that, have their little silver spoon because they got theirs, being fucking NIMBYs. So, they get to, complain and, talk about how things are okay and they can trust the system because they've been able to be privileged by it. Not us, though. Not I, McFly. So where the fuck is that shit, for me, I don't get to have, like, this, assurance of, like, oh, hey, at least I'll be okay. Nah, I don't get that. So what the fuck, Again, what do you expect? What, do you expect me to just lay down and take it? No. You're gonna see me, pick up a fucking, like a weapon, whether it's like a club or a bat or anything else, to defend myself. To make sure that I survive and fight. Because that's what it is now at this point. These motherfuckers want blood and death, and if they want it, then you're getting a fucking fight for it. I'll be okay, I don't go outside very often. Well, I mean, I do, but it's because Portland tends to be more of a safer place, for people like me. Unfortunately, even with that being the case, these fucking pieces of subhuman shit will come here and terrorize people, like here in Portland. They'll come here with fucking 44 Magnum revolvers and pepper spray and like fucking rubber bullets, paintball guns and shit, and terrorize people in Portland. These far-right fascists and all that type of shit outright fucking terrorize people in my fucking city. And again, what do you fucking expect when these people out for fucking blood, for people like me and shit, for fucking lefties in Antifa and want to see their heads roll and shit? What the fuck do you expect? What do you expect from people like me when they react to this? Especially when you have liberal lefties like Shoeonhead and these fucking fascist whores and that fucking hag of a skank, fucking perpetrating this shit, or perpetrating literal schizophrenic conspiracy theories about how the LGBTQ and trans people are fucking groomers. Can we talk about Shoeonhead, that fucking whore, that Nazi fucking skank whore, that fucking bimbo bitch wants to, be, ooh, I'm such a dumb bimbo, literally dating a fucking Nazi, perpetrating schizophrenic, homophobic, grooming bullshit. That fucking horse skank bitch needs to get the fuck out of this country. Fuck her. These motherfuckers are the main reason why people like me die. It's because of people like Shoeonhead, because of people like Libs at TikTok, because of Matt Walsh, because of Ben Shapiro, all these fucking people who's shoe dating literally some fucking fascist Nazi who literally talks about how all LGBT people are like pedophilic groomers, and she just like, oh really, oh here, let me propagate this for my whole pedo hunting fucking facade. She went from armored skeptic, to, which I don't really know what his full-on political ideas were, to a literal fucking Nazi. I don't know or give a fuck what his name is. It's not relevant to me. It's just the fact that she's a fucking Nazi skank fucking bitch that wants to go fucking suck the cock of every fascist that she talks to. Buddies up with people like Michael Knowles, buddies up with people like Sargon of Akkad, and wants to make sure that Alex Jones has a platform. She's a fucking fascist, and she will not ooh-woo her way into progressivism. She's a fucking Nazi whore, and that's what she always will fucking be. Fuck that bitch. She's a fucking enemy of the left. Period. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let fucking Bosch undermine that shit either, because he's buddies with her. What the fuck is with that either? What's with that, by the way? Why is Bosch all friendly with her? Like, she's a fucking Nazi, right? Like, she fucking propagates fascist bullshit where people like me die, right, Vosh? You know this, right? I know you're an advocate for queer liberation and shit, Vosh, so what the fuck? You should not be affiliated with her at all if this is the case. So really, what is up with that? That's some weird shit. Very, I wouldn't say suspect, just weird. And because of that, he kind of plays a little soft about it. And I think by proxy, plays soft with fucking, borderline fascists and shit sometimes. Like, he'll call them out when they're being open about it and shit, obviously, but as soon as it's like a ooh girl, a ooh bimbo bitch, like fucking Shoeonhead, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't know, benefit of the doubt. No more benefit of the doubt. No more second guessing or fucking any of this shit. Like, what the Like, there needs to be literal lines in the sand drawn, especially when it comes to these, liberal ooh fucks who want to pretend that, there's both sides to the argument between being a pedophile groomer or being, accepting of trans people. It's just no, there is no middle ground, and anyone that even tries to advocate that is no better than these fucking Nazis. Fuck those people, too. We're talking about Joe Rogan. Shoe on, fucking whore bitch. So, shoe on Nazi bitch, fucking that bitch, and just Nazis in general, and just my issue with them. Honestly. I don't even know how, it begun. I just kind of started venting. That's kind of how it happened. And considering that, also Shu, that fucking outright bitch, wants to basically make any excuse to call LGBT people, or at least implicitly imply that they're fucking groomers and pedophiles, any fucking chance that, some shit pops up. Whether it's Pride Month, or when queer people happen to fucking get killed, when even some of them aren't even queer people at all, just happens to be at a queer safe space at a gay bar and shit, she always, coincidentally enough, just happens to be spewing homophobic, schizophrenic, QAnon bullshit whenever the shit like this happens. Coincidence, right? Must be. She's still a little liberal ooh girl. She's just, playing the, victim. Come on now. I mean, she's just being dumb. Which, frankly, I find more misogynistic than what I'm saying, by the way. She's a literal whore for Nazism, and that's, like, and, honestly, saying that she's, like, too stupid and too much of a bimbo to say otherwise is fucking ridiculous. I was following her for a while, but when I see her takes on kicks at drag shows despite them being exposed to more revealing stuff at pool beaches, yeah. Because she literally, like, because she will always, basically be, saying this type of shit, whatever the fuck it happens. And who does that benefit? Matt Walsh, the far right, the extremists, these schizophrenic QAnoners. When she does that shit, it benefits nobody but her and the fucking far right extremists and shit. And that's purposefully. And that's purposeful. There's a reason why she does it, and it's because she believes in that shit. Yeah, she is absolutely a gateway to Nazism. She's one of the main gateways to the far right. Absolutely. Yes, I would. I don't even think I'd do that. I have too much vitriol against these fucking people. They're a fucking enemy. I wouldn't even, I wouldn't even give them that respect. I wouldn't even give them the respect to be fucked by my dick. Nah. I wouldn't even give him that fucking acknowledgement. Period. Because, like, it's just, it's to me, it's like, I mean, I don't know, like, this, like, with this last shooting shit, for me, that was like a line in fucking sand, I think. And mainly because, not just because, like, the shootings are just constant. And that's just, a typical fucking thing. And there was also one at Walmart the other day because a store manager literally fucking snapped and killed his employees at the store and killed himself. So, that's something that happened just literally, not even 2 days after Colorado. So, it's just like, that happened. Almost feel nothing now. I mean, like, this fucking shit kind of makes you feel that way a bit. I mean, that's why, for me, I think I had to, like, in my brain put a line in the sand, because, like, when the fuck, is there gonna be a line for me at that point? Am I just gonna be desensitized and just be like, used to it? Oh, some gay people died at a fucking mass shooting. Oh, some kids died in a mass shooting. Oh, some fucking workers died in a mass shooting. Like, when am I gonna put a line in the sand with shit? And, and fucking actually be on, and get on a fucking offensive and fight. Like, it's not enough to just be like, oh, thoughts and prayers and hope that, some gun control gets passed. It's not as simple as that anymore. And frankly, it never was. I don't know why people think that, just, like having, like, voting, some, like, legislation through is the only way to do it. It's like, it's part of it, but, like, it's like, if you don't, like, solve all these other fucking issues, all it does is just continue and perpetrate, like, the fucking problem. Because if they can't fucking, get one thing, they're gonna find another. And by the way, that guy who did a Colorado shooting, he didn't do a mass shooting first. That guy was trying to make a fucking bomb and kidnapped his fucking mom. Like, that motherfucker was, was not liable, like, was liable for fucking doing this shootings and shit, obviously. But if he could never gotten a gun, he would have just made a bunch of fucking bombs because he knew how to do it, and he tried, and he did. So, it's like, what, are we gonna, like, like, ban all the fucking ingredients, when it comes to making that shit? Because you can make those things with shit that's in your home. Which is, kind of scary, actually, to think about. It's like, any of these far-right motherfuckers just, like, going in their kitchen cabinet can, like, make that shit. It's like, what? And, because when it comes push to shove, these people will fucking go out of their way to do anything they can to, get their way and to eliminate undesirables in their mind. Because they want people, they want, queer people and trans people gone. And if that means that, hey, if I have to, spill their blood or they spill their own because, we oppress them so much that they start offing themselves, then to them, they celebrate it. They are now. Like, I'm honestly convinced at this point, all the, like, when it comes to that type of shit, it's all fucking coordinated. Like, when it comes to these motherfuckers. Like when what, like, because like it's really truly like it might seem kind of a little like conspiratorial in this case, but really true to think about. This motherfucker from Colorado, an outright fucking like homophobic shitbag who is unhinged and a fucking fascist, is a grandson to a QAnon or insurrectionist congressman, Rainey Vepler or whatever his fucking Veppel or whatever his name was, and fucking it has this whole, and there's all this major forums and shit that organize and orchestrate all these different things between QAnon shit. We know that they already organize this shit on this type of things. Shu's non-binary. No, he's not. No, he is not. That male is not a non-binary person. They're not they them. They're doing that to make a mockery of LGBT people. They're doing that to fucking mock you. They're mocking people like me. That's just nothing. And the only reason why is so they can get away with not having hate crime charges. That's it. It's just a legal defense and a mockery. That's all the reason why that person's claiming they're non-binary when he is most certainly not. Like Anders Aldrich or whatever that fucker's name is, he is not non-binary. 100%. I will absolutely say that confidently. They're only saying that so he won't get fucking hate crime charges. Because he knows, that's a legal way to get out of it. Oh, if it's another LGBT person that shot up a bunch of people at a gay bar, he can't say that's a hate crime. Bullshit. And that's another part of it. That is also orchestrated. Like, these motherfuckers are coordinating this shit. Like, because when that shit happened, what happened immediately afterwards? They justified it. They justified it immediately by saying, oh, well, hey, they did have a grooming event there. They had all this shit going on, and how can we stop that without the violence like this person did? And some of them aren't even saying that. They're saying like, oh, well, when you have like this stuff out in the open like this is what you get. Like, there are people outright from Twitter, social, everywhere. And on Tucker Carlson's show, there was like some, gay woman or some shit that is fucking, saying, oh, I'm a conservative gay person that, says that these pedophile groomers and shit, need to be stopped. And this is what happens. And it's kind of predictable. And Tucker Carlson just sat there and smiled. Yeah, this is predictable and it should happen. He basically smiled and, allowing it to be just enabled and perpetrating this shit. It is a fucking coordinated, war effort. This is what it is. It's an ideological, political fucking war. And it's hot. It's a hot fucking war. And that's really legitimately how it should be fucking viewed. It should be like a life and death fucking, mentality when it comes to these far-right fascists. Especially if you're a queer person. Bonds conspiracy believe he was a victim of, which could be a possibility, but I strongly am I have skepticism. I do believe that person probably is struggling. A lot of these people do struggle, but like at the end of the day, I don't believe it. I don't believe that person's like all of a sudden just, oh yeah, I'm this, just to get out of fucking hate crime charges. I don't believe it. Nah, I ain't buying it. There's no way to know yet. Well, at least with the information we know now, I think it's safe to assume that, where this person's side is on and where his true convictions were. Hardcore Trumpist family. Yeah, a hardcore Trumpist family came from a hardcore far-right family and shit and was, it was raised that way. Like, yeah, he probably did struggle with some shit internally, but he definitely, had very little, understanding of it, if any at all, because he was heavily oppressed from it, which is honestly another problem as to why religion is a fucking, threat as well. Because when you have people that, for all intents and purposes, maybe gay, maybe this or that, who knows, could, have something going on, and because of, being raised up a certain way, suddenly, it's just like, oh, now, like, they're the biggest enemy in their eyes now, because, they might think, oh, I might like a little dick or something, and all of a sudden, like, they're told, it's basically from birth, that, like, it's the most evil, reprehensible fucking thing. I mean, unfortunately, this is just what fucking happens. And like, and realistically, it's just like, not fucking like, being able to like, like try to, like, stop these individuals from doing this type of shit, or like trying to prevent it, and like jailing them if they fucking are like doing these type of attacks and shit, or planning them. Like, that helps, but that doesn't solve the problem, because these people are still gonna prop up if you still have these motherfuckers spreading their shit and spreading this type of ideology, because this is what it perpetrates, and they want that. Like, I mean, a lot of, like, especially the religious far right is a death cult. Like, they want this type of shit. Like, they're a death cult when it comes to, like, the sins of man and shit, and, and the punishments that man ought to deserve, and man just being us as a species, when it comes to our sins, or whatever the fuck, complicated nonsense. And, they're a death cult when it comes to war, and a death cult when it comes to climate. They're a death cult for pretty much fucking anything on this planet. They worship death. And that's all they, want and advocate for. That's why I say the shit's a fucking political hot war. It's like, yeah, it ain't like a literal war in a sense of like, like aircraft, tanks, and guns and shit. But, well, the guns are being used by them, by the, these far-right extremists who are perpetrating and trying to incite a fucking queer race class war and shit, so they can incite their fascistic fucking dictatorship. I think I'm at a comfortable class to say it this way, so I don't want to get shot after all. That's what they want. This is this is the problem. Like, this is what the fucking far right want. They want people like us to be in fucking fear. And I'm just fucking pissed, mad and ready to fucking fight them at this point. They'll be like, black people need to get over slavery, happened in the past. At the same time, everyone should have discovered a sense of two fictional characters who lived thousands of years ago. Oh my, yeah, dude, for real. It's like, oh my god, I love it when they say that. It's like, black people should just kind of like, get over like, slavery and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that thing that happened like, just a little over 150 years ago. Yeah, let's just tell some people to get over that, yeah. That also, that was pretty much continuously being perpetrated for, like, 100 years prior to that, too. So, yeah, let's just tell people to get over that, like, term systemic issue. If anything, it may have fallen for the rhetoric of queer people like Blair White and Dave Rubin. Well, yeah, because they're the token, queer folk that the far right love to use. I mean, because they're only there as pawns, to essentially say to other people that may or may not be gay or trans and shit, to get them more hateful and oppressive and insecure about themselves and their own ideas and shit. Unless they're basically, one of the good ones, like Blair or fucking Dave Rubin, because, like Dave is just basically like a celibate, like, gay guy that's just like quiet as fuck and just looks like a straight dude if you didn't know any better. And Blair White basically just looks like a literal like supermodel. It's just like, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that she, like, Blair White had, like, does this bullshit of, like, oh, yes, I'm gonna be on this ivory tower pedestal, and anyone below me is not real trans and not a real one. It's just like, fuck you, you cunt. It's like you had to be in that phase of, not passing. So, fuck you. Or recited during the interrogation of the shooter. Ben Shapiro, yeah. I would not be surprised. The Daily Wire is a major prominent outlet for this shit. I don't want to go on with my stuff for... I was going to go on with stuff for my birthday, but we're just going to Applebee's instead. Well, I mean, it's Alabama, and unfortunately, considering what just recently happened, honestly, because it is Alabama, I don't fucking blame you. And that's fucked, because that should be a fucking safe space for you. Like, legitimately. Like, I mean, when, people on the left or progressives talk about, quote, safe spaces, they mean places like gay bars and, like, like, little, like, like bookstores and, like, diners and, like, these type of places. In your own home, too, as well, and, and all this other shit. Because it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're out in public and you want to at least have a place where it's like an assurity that, you know, it's safe for you, then there's at least places like that. You know, but, you know, unfortunately, even there, it ain't. And this is, like, you know, unfortunately, this is kind of what people mean. It's like, you know, people need safe spaces and shit. Because, unfortunately, of these fucking problems. I mean, it's like, I know back in like 2015, and even up to this point still, it's like safe space is kind of a buzzword, but I mean, it's just like, I mean, so what? It's like something that's genuine and meritable that people should have. It's like, is your bedroom not a safe space? You know what I mean? Happy early birthday. Oh yeah, happy early birthday, my fan. I'm in LA, I'll probably avoid queer spaces for a while now. I mean, yeah, like, I mean, even when it comes to, like, you know, being in places where it is predominantly more safe. I mean, just mainly because, like, unfortunately, some of these type of fucking far-right dipshits, you know, always, you know, happen to be, like, you know, come into these more inner-city areas when they don't live in them, and like to harass people, and fucking intimidate people and shit. So, you know, like, I unfortunately live by experience with that, because a lot of them love to come and harass and intimidate people in Portland. So it's just like, I mean, unfortunately, kind of used to it. Why are my shooters usually white guys? Probably because of, honestly, a lot of what we're talking about. Sadly. Due to this shit, too. Yeah. I mean, the people are already doing that when, like, Roe v. Wade happened and shit. Like, there was people, like, as soon as, like, Roe v. Wade hit and some of these states had, like, fucking trigger laws or whatever the fuck when Roe v. Wade was revoked, their laws basically went into immediate effect on abortion bans and shit. Like, a lot of, you know, at least people that could, you know, basically said, yeah, fuck it, we're getting out of here. We're gonna move. Which, it's, you know, it's just another example of just something that's fucked. Because, like, the right, you know, a lot of these fucking far-right evangelical death cultists and fascists and Nazis and shit just want to basically make people's lives as miserable as fucking possible while they, you know, like, sip on their fucking little champagne glasses and shit on the top. They want to be part of the fucking in club and make everybody else fucking miserable and inconvenienced and fucking, if anything, eliminated from society as much as fucking possible. And they'll pretty much do anything and everything under the sun to do that. And that includes, you know, spreading terror throughout the fucking nation. Because these people are fucking terrorists. So yeah, I'm glad I live isn't like that, but I'm not gay, so I can't really make that claim. Yeah. I mean, being, you know, bi, at least, you know, when people, like, especially happen to, you know, like, be, like, homophobic or some shit, I mention it pretty plain as day and stuff. There's been times where I've, like, you know, seen interactions in public, and I'm like, hey, fuck off, and it's like, to like some bigot shitbag, and they'd be like, what is it to you? You're just some other straight white male, bitch. I'm just like, I'm bi, fucker. I'm like, fuck you. They're, you know, no different than me. I just like pussy too as much as dick, so fuck you. It's just like, I mean, you know, it's like, it's one of those things where looks are deceiving, because, you know, I guess on a surface glance, you wouldn't necessarily think I'm bi. Just wearing some fucking jackets, a hat, and a fucking collared work shirt. You know what I mean? Nothing outright strikes me as being, you know, a queer person. But I am. Contest. I was first diagnosed person to go for the school. My high school had an ongoing bet. I was going to be... because of how bad I was treated for being... Oh, really? Jeez. I mean, honestly, I mean, it wasn't like a bet, but there was definitely, even in my school, there was, like, some kids who were like, could they potentially be, like, you know, a shooter? And I'm just like, honestly, luckily, obviously, there wasn't, but there's definitely at least a couple kids who, you know, struck me as, like, there could be. And honestly, I know there's probably a few other kids that saw me like that too, but, like I went, like, even, like, in school, like, thinking about it, it's like, honestly, the closest I got was, like, in 7th grade, and honestly, it was literally like my whole idea was, to go find the boys that were bullying me specifically and just go to them. And honestly, it wasn't even like, going, like to school to do that too either. Like, because I've told a story before, but basically, like, throughout 7th grade specifically, mainly, there was like a group of like 3 to 4 bullies that basically literally the entire year, basically like bullied me physically, emotionally, like, like pretty much anywhere from like outside, recess, bathroom, lunch, even in class, everything. And near like the last month of school that year, I, blurted out, like, I'm gonna fucking, kill them shit, basically. Not, tell a story, YouTube, not being serious or making claims, YouTube. Tell them a story. And I basically went into the office and called my mom up on the fucking office phone and basically repeated what I, to my mom what I told them. And then one of the fucking administrators basically just grabbed the phone immediately and just, held on to it and put me in a separate office and then told me, it's like, who are these kids that are bullying you again? And, we got that question first and I told them who they were. And it's like, okay, wait here. And then that teacher or administrator went out, and I noticed that that one went to try to find him and point him out, and a couple others grabbed them and pulled them inside, because they were still outside arguing with my friend who was still out there. And then that same administrator that pulled me in the office came back, and it's like, now I understand that, unfortunately, throughout the year, there's been, problems with bullies with you and stuff, blah, blah, blah. But, then they laid down the whole shebang and shit about, like, why, obviously, what I said was no fucking bueno. And, and obviously not a good thing and shit. Again, 7th grade, middle school. So, and like, and I'm just like, and I basically just said, like, frankly, I didn't care because, I'm sick of it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, okay, so, I mean, they understood in a sense. They're trying to be reasonable, but they're at least, considering my anger, obviously, and just like desperation in the situation. And, basically said, like, we'll make sure that this gets addressed and they won't be bothered with you again after this. And, and at least just in case as precaution, and we want you to, check in with us before and, and after school and blah, 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 so we can check your bag and shit. Which that was fucking annoying. At least it was only for a month, I guess. But still, it was pretty fucking retarded. Well, not really. Actually, it was very understandable. But, I mean, but that's, I would say, the closest I ever got to anything that would be comparable to that. And it was literally just more of like yelling out like the equivalent of like, fuck you shitbags, I wanna fucking, like I'm gonna crush your skull type of shit, basically. And then the next day, just nothing comes from it. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people have that situation, like, you fucking motherfucker, and then like the next day, they're just like, I don't, not worth the time. That ain't worth the energy. I don't really give a fuck. But beyond that, there's never really been an instance where I could think of, at least, where I'm just like, yeah, I want to like hurt somebody at school and shit and bring something. Like, I like, that's honestly the only time I can think of. Because I think that probably would be the closest. Outside of, like, maybe just, like, threatening to beat the shit out of, some other bullies and shit. Maybe, like, for early high school and stuff. But that's just threatening to beat the shit out of them. That's just typical high school shit. So, like, beyond that one story, at least, like, that's really the only, thing. And, again, back in 7th grade, long time ago. Walked down the hall, boys showed up, started shit, then Big John with a football team showed up and legitimately whooped ass hard. They left me alone after that. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds kind of obsessive, like, did they know your schedule? Alright, our finish this third period by 1, so if we get dressed fast after track, I think we can squeeze him a good 5 minutes with him. Dude, honestly, it was kind of like that, it felt like. Maybe not literally, but it was it was kind of like this, like when they happened to see me, and because they recognized me as a mark, basically. So it's just like the situation where it's like if they just, because, you know, like in middle school, like recess and all the classes, you know, were kind of like organized into different semesters. So like everyone's classes would basically be the same for one semester, and then everyone's class will change a little bit the second semester, and so on and so forth. And yeah, but unfortunately, pretty much like for most of those semesters, either their classes or their lunches or, you know, where we would have to pass by each other, you know, to get to classes, like it would all basically be, you know, just coincidentally, just like, you know, around where they would have high probability of finding me or seeing me. So, I mean, you know, by that point, you know, it's just like, I mean, even if they didn't know my schedule, they, by proxy, knew it eventually because, you know, we just would eventually have the same shit. And I know once they, bullied me in the bathroom during lunch once. And no, it wasn't like the, you know, like, oh, we're gonna, like, you know, beat you up and to piss on you shit. It was just like, you know, pretty much like everything else, but it just happened to be in the bathroom that time. Where it's like shoving you around and, you know, fucking on you and blah, 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 but just happenstance was a bathroom that time around. Wait, piss on you? Yeah, honestly, like, that's straight up what bullies will do. And I have heard of that happening even at my school. Like, you know, if they suspect, like, honestly, this happened to gay kids. Like, mainly, or at least, like, queer kids. Like, if there's a kid that was suspected or was openly a queer kid, sounds a little gay, that's the point. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it was mainly done towards kids who might have been, you know, homosexual or queer in some way. Because, you know, if there's kids that suspected that you're like, hey, and all that shit, like, they, you know, if you happen to be in a bathroom and they saw you go in there, they're going to beat you up and do that. Luckily, like I said, haven't happened to me. You know, but I have heard of that happening, and I remember also, like, you know, like, one of those, like, you know, like motivational speaker, you know, dudes who come in for, like, anti-bullying that, like, go through the schools and stuff. Like, one of those guys, came in and was telling his story and shit, because he was a, you know, gay man that was bullied throughout school and shit. And, like, pretty much essentially, you know, like, that was one of the things that happened to him, you know, when being bullied and shit, was just being, like, you know, getting beaten the fuck up on, and then they piss on him and then walk out, you know, being like, hey, and all this other shit. For context, stories when they shove your head into the flesh. I know what swirly is. And yeah, that is basically torture. That's basically just like drowning somebody in shit water. It's like, here, shove your head in that, and then we're gonna also flush it a bunch of times, which is basically the equivalent of like waterboarding. It's like you're reverse waterboarding somebody. Like that, it should actually be qualified as torture. That's like not just bullying, that's just straight torture. Like, I feel like there's a line between that, you know, it's like bullying and torture. I feel like there's legitimately a line, you know, in the sand there. That is, I would hope, pretty concrete, but, you know, because, I guess unfortunately not, though, because swirlies, I guess, are a gray area, so, I mean, shouldn't be. Happened only once, thankfully. I've never had that happen, thank fuck. I've never had the worst when it came to bullying. I've just really have gotten, like, the typical shit, like, you know, hey, faggot, what's up, bitch, and all that other shit, you know, get teased at and fucking pushed around, and, you know, fist fights and stuff, you know, like, that typical shit, but luckily, it wasn't really anything else beyond that. Which, thank fuck. Like, honestly. Guess a little image. What's this? Is this a little gingerbread man? Set me a little gingerbread man. Oh my goodness. Were you trying to imitate this little guy? Over there in the corner. He looks like he's on some serious drugs. That gingerbread man be high, bro. Never listened to that. Bully girls liked you until I was an adult. That gingerbread man scares me. It does kind of scare, dude. It kind of does. It does kind of scare me, dude. Just smiling while just like dilated the shit on drugs. Turns out being 6'4" and several hundred pounds is a good body deterrent. Bully deterrent. Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't like 6'2" and tall yet, you know, in 7th grade. I was still kind of short and pudgy. So, unfortunately, I wasn't quite, you know, there yet. If I was like, at least like 5'11" or some shit, if I was in middle school, I'm pretty sure there would be less bullying. I mean, they might say some shit to me, but they wouldn't be physical like they were with my initial shortness and stubbiness. Go mad at school. Me? Bruh, you're thinking way too highly of me there, bud. Even I have to humble myself and say no. I mean, I had a couple girlfriends in high school and shit, but nothing like, I would say that would be like serious. And I also had like long-term friends who were chicks and shit that, you know, who were in high school with me as well, so obviously I was close with them, but I mean, outside of that, I wasn't like some sort of like chick magnet. You know what I mean? I think a few girls did find me attractive. Yeah. Honestly, I think that, you know, by the time I was in high school, there was probably that. But I was too much of a social awkward, insecure bastard, you know, to notice that. I honestly definitely could have gotten laid in high school if I did. Honestly. I almost got, I almost hooked up with a chick, in my senior year, and we kind of submitted around a little bit, but never really, like, advanced that far, which I was like, mainly because my fucking, like, uncle's a dick. He was just like, cause, you know, I brought her home just, you know, to hang out for a bit and shit, and he was making some lasagna and shit, and my mom was there too, and she's like, oh, you brought someone home, and you brought a friend home and stuff. I was like, yeah, just hanging out, blah, blah, blah. So it's just like, you know, take her to my room, and her and I were hanging out in there for, you know, a bit, and then my fucking mom and my goddamn uncle conspired and fucking basically and my mom made my uncle, like, barge in my room, like, every 30 to 40 minutes. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Go away. Like, why? Just checking up on you. I'm just like, can you not? And then he, like, came in and was like, I really don't want to, but, you know, like, unfortunately, your mom's making me. I'm just like, then don't do it. Just pretend you are. And he's just like, well, I can't just, like, walk up the hallway and just listen. That'd be awkward. You know, you kind of, like, did that to me. I'm just like, oh, and I'm kind of like, well, you're kind of right, but god damn it, like, just don't. But, it was just so, like, I mean, I got cock-blocked, frankly, is what happened. And it saddens me. This is why kids turn gay. I mean, for real. So this listening is awkward, but barging in isn't. Well, that is awkward. Yes, both of them are awkward, but, you know, hearing someone walk up the hallway and then stop, and then just walk away after a while, that also would be a little awkward. Both of them would be awkward. It's like, what, are we gonna now say the lesser of two awkwards? The lesser of two evils here. I guess, I mean, I guess, you know, just, like, listening instead of, like, barging in would be technically less awkward, but we know. Lightsaber clash, oh my god. I'd block your cop mine. Have a little sulfur. What? You know what? I don't know why, but I'm just suddenly reminded of this like YouTube short I saw. I'm gonna try to find it. Trust me, this is legitimately pretty funny. I just need to Oh, here it is. I found it. This is so fucking great. Oh, let me do this. Okay, here we go.
Look, I'm under what?
I'm under what? Gentlemen.
This is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there?
See that chap?
Hand off my penis!
Get your hand off my penis!
Penis people. What is eating a meal? A
succulent Chinese meal.
Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir.
That's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes.
I see that you know your judo well. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Oh my god, I don't know, like, I don't even know how, but this popped up on the shorts, and I bursted out laughing listening to it the first time, and it's still just as funny the second time around. Well, technically, like, the 5th or 4th or, like, 8th time around, like, more like the 20th time around. I've watched this over and over again, because it's so fucking funny.
I somewhat enjoyed it.
I somewhat enjoyed it.
Look, I'm under what?
I'm under what?
Gentlemen.
It's like there are 4 dudes trying to, like, subdue him
Have a look.
and detain him. Like, there are 4 dudes.
Get your hand off my penis!
Get your hand off my penis!
Eating a meal, a succulent Chinese meal. Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Yes.
I see that you know your judo well.
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Oh my god! I fucking love it! I love it. It says that gentlemanly. I know, it's such like like he's just so gentlemanly about it. it's just so fucking great. I love it. I just love how all out of nowhere he just is like alerted, just like, get your hands off my penis! It's like, how dare you, sir? He's not even affected by the headlock. It's like, oh yes, this chap over here has got me in a headlock. Oh yes, I see you know your judo well. My god, dude, I fucking love it. Sounds like a Monty Python sketch. It really kind of honestly does. It really fucking does. Oh man, I fucking love it. I just realized that reminds me of Dave Chappelle's white guy voice. Oh my, maybe he got it from this guy. Maybe Dave Chappelle saw this and he's like, that's gonna be my white guy voice for here on out. Dude. Like, cause oh my god, I love it. And out of nowhere, he just like mentions like, I'm being detained for what? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? I love how he just like, I just love the descriptor, a succulent Chinese meal. Just like that, like, it's just like the prolonged emphasis on meal when he says it. Not the first time around, it's like, eating a meal? Eating a succulent Chinese meal? Like, he says it more pronounced the second time around. Gentlemen, this is the Democracy Manifest. Oh my god, I fucking love it so much. Okay, yeah, I gotta watch it one more time. It's just so fucking great. We gotta watch it one more time. It's just one more time.
Half intoxicated, and I somewhat enjoyed it.
Somewhat enjoyed it.
Look, I'm under what?
I'm under what? Come on.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Democracy Manifest.
Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis!
bicycle at Chinese meal.
Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh. I see that you know your judo well. And you, sir?
And you, sir?
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Oh my god! Oh my god, I love it! Holy shit! Oh my god, I fucking love it! Oh man! Oh my god! This is fucking making me cry. I'm laughing. Oh, I think the man was drunk. He was. Like, he said he was half intoxicated and he somewhat enjoyed it. Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest. The way he just says it so thickly, too. I love it. He's describing it like partially like a fucking nature doc, too. A little bit of that. Oh, man, I love it. Holy shit. Goddamn, that's fucking beautiful. Man. I don't know why this sword fight shit reminded me of that. Well, yeah, because they'll get your hands off my business, and you, sir. I love the way he's like, and you, sir, are you ready to receive my limp penis? It's just the way he's just like his little head bobbles with that. I love it. I just love how he just like head bobbles that shit. Oh my god. It could be an old admiral in a naval movie. Yeah, like a Navy movie that's like kind of like a comedic movie or something. Or even like a serious movie or some shit. You just got like, a begrudging, cynical, drunk, admiral or something. Dude, you'd be great for it. Goddamn, I love it. Yeah, I'm talking for like an hour of like, some tense, doom gloom stuff. We need some nice fucking amazing laughter. We need some uplifting. Oh goddamn. I swear I could probably watch that forever and I'll still laugh at it. just the same as I did the first time. Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest. This chap over here, he's got himself in a good, nice, fine headlock here, and get your hands off my penis! I fucking love it. Oh man, it's just so goddamn great. I don't understand track on people. Do you need your wife to cut your food for you too? I mean, with like dudes, or like with, husbands, they're just like, I'm not gonna cook anything, that's, for the wife to do. And it's like, what, do you want her to, like, serve your plate and, like, cut it up and, like, here goes the choo-choo and shit? Like, what, do you want to basically just be, like, a toddler or something? I just realized something. What if, like, a lot of these fucking, like, chuds that basically just, like, let the wife do literally everything, what if they just secretly, honestly, just basically, want to just have, like, I guess, like, an adult mommy little boy situation? Instead of the reverse, where it's like, I'm not gonna lie, that like, kink is so fucking weird to me. Or just you got, like, adults that kind of get into, like, the cosplay of, like, acting like a kid or some shit. Like, I'm not, just a tiny aside, that shit is just weird. I mean, and it's like, I'm into kink stuff, but that's just, I feel like there's just some other things going on with that, I feel like there might be some other underlying things with that. But either way, but that's kind of my point, though. Like, what if, like, some of these, like, dudes who want a wife to basically literally just do fucking everything? What if it's just basically because they just still want to be like, you know, a little toddler kid, you know, and have, you know, their mama do everything for them? But they basically also have to, you know, have this veneer of being a macho man or some shit, so they can't actually do that. I don't like us, I don't either, but he did Malaga supposedly asymmetric or something. I haven't listened to it yet, though. Oh, did he? Oh, I think I heard something about it, but yeah, I haven't listened to it either. Imagine how many they'd get if you went up to them and they were like, okay, buddy, yeah, you're special, you're a big boy. You do big boy things, like drink a beer and watch football. Yeah, it's like, you do big boy things, like, you know, drink beers and watch a football. Macho Man Randy Savage, man, brother. What the fuck, man? Just blurting out. A dude had one last movie come out next year too, Legend of the White Dragon. Who? Oh, stop. You gotta stop watching Super... Oh, you're talking about... Okay. I see what you're doing. So, 90s Legend just died, and I'm sad as fuck about that. Yeah, Tommy Oliver. Yeah. I mean, that sucks. It definitely does. I feel off of Dave Chappelle's modern shit after the transphobia thing. Yeah, same here. Like, cause honestly, like, Dave Chappelle, I mean, I wasn't, like, necessarily, like, the biggest fan of Dave Chappelle, like, or, you know, absolutely, like, immensely fond of him, so to speak, or whatever the fuck, or, like, absolutely liked him and shit. You know, like, totally. I mean, I liked, you know, specials and, you know, different shit like that. Like, I mean, I didn't dislike him, obviously. You know, but as soon as I started hearing, like, a lot of his turf shit, I was just like, yeah, it started becoming very questionable, and it didn't stop, and I'm just like, okay, well, fuck you. Yeah, basically, like, the first time, I'm just like, okay. And then the second time, and then pretty much every other time after, I'm like, okay, fuck you. Like, I can maybe give a benefit of doubt if it only happened once, but it doesn't. You know, it's like, because if it only happened once, and it's just like, you know, like a one-off comment type of thing, and it's pretty much nothing else, then it's like, well, okay, you might have, you know, some turfish beliefs, but it doesn't seem like he's like some abnegate, you know, fucking believer of it or some shit. So I guess that's something. But he's obviously someone who wants to propagate and push this type of shit. He literally just straight up, you know, it's like, he quadrupled down, basically. It's just like, nah. Can't tell me what to do, fuck you, bruh. Nah. Totally a turf. Haven't had Chick-fil-A in years. Yeah, me neither. There is a Chick-fil-A around here, funny enough, but, I mean, eh. If I wanted to get a chicken Sammy, I have a local place, regional local diner I can go to. If I eat it, it's usually someone bought it for me. Yeah, the last time I ate it was because of that, basically. Someone got it, and, or some, you know, some from the house is like, hey, getting some Chick-fil-A, want some? And I'm just like, yeah, fucking sure. Give me a chicken Sammy. Dave Chappelle's earlier stuff was better. He started doing the SJW thing where he uses race defensive opinions and makes his justifications for bigotry using race. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of his earlier stuff, too. I mean, that's why, you know, I wasn't, like, necessarily, like, the biggest fan, because I, you know, at least initially, because I never really got into him up until, like, more recently. And that was only for, like, a year, and then he did the turf shit, and then I was just like, oh, well, you know, so I only really kind of got into him for a short period of time. I mean, I was definitely aware of him and knew of him, you know, for quite a while, but, you know, never really gone out of my way to go delve into his stuff up until, like, you know, a couple years ago. And then when he first started making a lot of his turf comments, you know, that was probably about, like, a year into really actually kind of getting into his stuff. And then after that, I was like, well, you know, I went from, like, you know, Didn't really have much of an opinion to, yeah, I kind of like you, and kind of moving up a little bit, and then went, and then just like went right down. This Clay Bigsby sketch is genius. I'm trying to remember if I've seen that. Because, oh man, it's been a long while since I've seen some Chappelle clips, or Chappelle sketches. He's like Amy Schumer. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I mean, like, I mean, I guess to elaborate. Like, in a way, because he basically kind of does, like, with the analogy, basically how, like, Amy Schumer basically uses her and her sex life, basically, as, like, the pun of the joke. You know, and thus, like, Dave Chappelle kind of has a similar thing with his thing. Like, you know, with, you know, like, using, like, you know, social commentary around race and shit. Like, you have to elaborate on that. Because I went, yeah, because I thought about that, but then went, well, hold on, because, if we're going to be talking about, like, a level of, like, talent here, too, and everything else, like, I went, wait a minute, no. It's actually a discriminant. She's an annoying, unfunny cunt. Yeah. That's kind of the difference. I will, unfortunately, I mean, I will admit this, unfortunately, like, there was, like, when I first heard of her, and like, I saw, like, 1 or 2 sketches that she did, and I think, like, 1 movie she did or some shit. I think I was, like, 14 or 15 or some shit, or probably around then. I think she was actually kind of big around that point. You know, like, I will admit, I kind of giggled and I thought, oh, she's kind of funny. Because, you know, tit, sex, hit, hit. But I grew out of that within, like, the span of probably about 6 months to a year. It did not last long whatsoever. Because at the same time, because it wasn't too long after that, I started to open myself to politics a little bit, and then I realized that she was a political wretch. So I was like, ugh. Like, she's a total weird fucking, like, Hillary stan, too. And if you critique her and shit, she thinks that you're sexist and stuff. She's just a fucking cunt. She's just stupid. I'd rather watch Dave's most cringe transphobic shit to anything she's ever done. Honestly, I might have to agree, because, like, I at least, you know, take something from the whole transphobic shit and at least kind of have, like, a reaction and commentary with that. Like, with Amy Schumer, like, what could you add for commentary? And, you know what I mean? Like, what is there to add, you know, to it? Like, what is, you know, basically implying, is it thought-provoking? At least Dave's, you know, while probably cringe, I can at least be thought-provoking. Well, in a sense of, like, well, it provokes thoughts of how much you're a fucking dipshit on your transphobic ideas, so. Oh my goodness. Little laser beams. Ow, ow, ow.
What? Hi.
Aw. Oh, look at these little, look at these adorable little predators.
No, climb all over me if you could.
Wait until they grow up. Alligators, when they're babies, are legitimately way too adorable for their own good. Like, seriously. Lizards, alligators. They're baby alligators. And technically, actually, the sound they're making is technically a distress call. Because it's supposed to bring the mother. You know, and track the mother when they make that noise. I'd eat them. What the fuck? What the hell? Dave Chappelle isn't any, just ignorant trans issues and seems unwilling to learn. Yeah. Which at that point, he's just not just ignorant, but also arrogant. Because if he's unwilling to learn, then he's just, you know, arrogantly kind of stuck in his beliefs. Gator tastes like chicken. Well, hunt an adult one that's already in the swamps. You know, like a cute little baby gator that's, like, in a dude's tub. Like, hell no, bro. Hell no. Oh, like, but for real, though, like, honestly, these little baby gators are too cute for their fucking own good. Like, for when they grow up and they're adults, like, they're fucking, like, you know, deadly ass fucking predators and shit, you know? They can fucking tear your arm off and stuff. But, like, when they're babies, it's like they're these cute little, like, laser beam sound makers. It's just like, what the hell? Why are they this cute when they're babies? Like, they do not have a right to be this way. Like, this is like a crime on evolution. They fucking deceive us with the cuteness. So when they grow old and be adults, they can consume us. Baby gator meat is sweet and succulent. Adult gator meat is tough and hard. That's it. Ignore it. Get the rolled up. Yeah, alright. I'm getting a rolled up newspaper. Alright. It's time. It's time. Alright, it's time. Yes, I just whipped out a newspaper. Yep, it's time. Alright. Alright, you son of a bitch. Come here. Come on. You're just like, alright, get the rolled up newspaper. I'm like, on it. Just, I whipped it out. Like, I got that shit on standby. Yeah, where's the cup go? Oh, you're over there. Why are you over there? All by your lonesome. Little goober. Fascism. Out of the off-camera zone. Fascism and despotism. Despotism. Oh my god. I mean, you just basically, we are Gator Sprint. Yeah. I mean, I have my, questions about the cuteness when they're babies, but I mean, it's not like I'm gonna deny it either. I'm like, it's like, I'll embrace them when they're cute and adorable. Like, yeah, let me get, look, they're so adorable. I mean, look at these little guys. I mean, if, like, honestly, like, if there was, like, a species of gator that were legit, like, this size, I'd totally have one as a pet. Well, I mean, if I, had a spot for it, or a space for it, and no cats, or a dog. I know there's actually, like, different species of gators and crocs. Like, I know there actually is, like, smaller ones that are about, like, 3 to 4 feet in length. Obviously, they could still fuck you up if you, mess with them. But, they're also, but at the same time, they're actually, from what I understand, legitimately a little bit more, friendlier, at least towards people. And actually, from my understanding, can also be somewhat easier domesticated. Like, there's a very specific region, I think, in Central to South America where they live. So there's not really that many of them. But, they, from my understanding, they're actually somewhat pretty friendly. Actually, I think in one of the Far Cry games, you can have that gator as a pet. And I think the pet's called Guapo. I just don't know what the name of the gator is. Actually, I'll just look it up real quick. Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's a crocodile, actually. It's just a... What type of species of crocodile? It doesn't say outright specifically. Going to vote for Biden 2024 at this point. Yeah. If, especially if DeSantis is the nominee. Like, frankly, at that rate, I don't give a fuck who's on, you know, the other side of the ticket. Like, anything to not have him in power. Hate myself for it, but better than anything the right can muster. Yeah, because, well, the right are a bunch of far-right death cult freaks. So, you know, they pretty much, you know, are yelling blood for blood god right now. So, yeah, like, anything that they muster up, I want nothing to fucking do with. Nor do I want them anywhere in fucking power at all. I mean, yeah, I feel like Biden's done enough at this point to warrant, at the very least, the lesser two evils vote, like, won't be as bad as in 2020. Yeah, I really feel gross saying that, but yeah. Riding with Biden. Even Hillary. Oh man, it'd be fucking hard, dude. It'd be tough, but, okay, she's the only person I would be like, oh my god, they're doomed. Honestly, yeah. You know what? Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're right. I don't even know. I don't even know if I'll. I want to vote for Hillary, even though she would be better choice. I just can't do it. Yeah, dude. You know what, man? That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could bring myself to just do that. Like, I'm pretty sure I've made a vow on myself to never ever, like, you know, vote in anything where her name is on it. So she happened to be on the ticket, even as a VP choice. Like, I don't think I can muster that, because then she would be just that close to power. In fact, if she's a VP choice, that's just like a proxy of her to be president, because you know the actual president will just step down. Vote for the Hill Dog, ignore. Nah, and you know what? Nah, I just don't think I could. You feel a piece of your soul break off when you vote. Yeah, like, you feel like your actual life source and your life soul energy just, like, absorbed and actually, like, broken out of you. I couldn't move the pen to check the box even if I physically tried. Dude, I would be the same way. You know, it's your destiny. Nope. Nope. Ugh. God, you're sending shivers down my spine. No! It is your destiny. I'm with her. You're with me. You're with me, Hillary. You have to Pokemon Go to the polls. Feel nothing. That's why I think I could do it. Yeah, you feel nothing right now. So, yeah, but yeah, like, give it a couple months, you might feel different. Or a couple weeks. My arm would snap before I could reach the paper. Yeah, like, the sheer, like, will, like, in my arm will be so strong that forcing it would actually probably, like, snap bones in my body and just, like, and cause it to, like, fracture in, like, this weird, like, this contorted, fucked up way that it would just be permanently fucked. Might as well just get it amputated, you know, at that point. Guys running with Milo Fuentes, apparently. Oh, so Nazis are banding together. Yay. Or at least some of the more extreme ones that, you know, are fucking doing their thing. So Milo's Manchester campaign, Nick Fuentes was there too for some reason. I might lol vote for Kanye. Why? Don't. Just don't. Don't. Why give him that? Why give him anything? It isn't a knuckle sandwich. Oh! I was off really. Why is your hair missing? It was unclean. Hopefully you don't regret that. Some people did that for Trump in 2016. Yeah, Yeah, there's some people that, you know, vote for the memes and then really legitimately kind of end up regretting it. What time is it? Oh, 3:35. Boo! Oh, 2:35. Third party runs are doomed, so why not throw them in a pity vote or two? If it was between, like, Biden, Kanye, and DeSantis, do you really want two Nazis basically, like, splitting the votes or whatever. Well, actually, that would be a good idea. Actually, you know what? You just talked me into it. I think you actually kind of talked me into it. If you have like an anti-Semitic Nazi and a competent, more crypto Nazi that's, you know, and shit, and like fucking having him kind of duke it out a little bit, and Biden's just kind of just chilling in the background. I mean, that's probably one of the main parties in Germany. Yeah, but I don't really see Kanye as just an independent, unaffiliated party getting anywhere. Unless he's also establishing his own party, like the Yay Party or some shit. Like, I mean, unless he's doing that. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's a part of it, but if it is, that would honestly make a little more sense. But do you ever stop to think, wow, Biden won by doing basically nothing? Yeah. And he's still doing kind of that. And yeah. I mean, at least, you know, there is at least some shit. Like, I mean, you know, because Colby's kind of right a little bit from earlier. I didn't read it, but, well, I read it, but I didn't, like, read it out loud. But, like, I saw comments like, you know, yeah, there's at least, like, some stuff that I at least can, like, look at and shit, basically, you know? It's, like, more than I could expect from Obama, honestly. I'm just like, yeah, honestly. Because even though he hasn't really done as much as Obama, per se, what he has done, though, is at least something that I don't see Obama doing, necessarily. Are pretty established figures, I wouldn't be surprised if they could get Alex Jones or Joe Rogan behind him, too. There's a lot of cultural power. Joe Rogan said that he would vote for DeSantis, and he wants Ron DeSantis, and shit, so I think Joe Rogan's kind of safe in the DeSantis train. I mean, he's openly said that multiple times in the past, where he's really likes him, so. Wants legal weed, though. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a made man. Like, he's a man that's made, dude. He can get weed even if it is illegal. Like, what the fuck what? Like, you think the cops are gonna stop him? Pull him over and bust him for some weed? They're gonna be like, hey, it's Joe Rogan. How you doing, brother? Hey, you know, it's like, I listen to your show, man. You know, it's like, they're just gonna be like, they're gonna be doing that type of shit. They're just gonna let him go, dude. Like, he'll still smoke weed, even if it is a very criminal state to do so. He don't care. He's a made man. Also, Trump ran third party before he ran Republican. He also ran as a Democrat once, too. I think he's had, like, 2 separate presidential campaigns before 2016. I think one in the early 2000s or some shit, as, you know, just kind of somewhere, you know, like, as an independent. I think that's when it was. And I think in the 90s, I think the early 90s or some shit, or like the mid 90s, he did as a Dem. Because he used to be a registered Democrat at one point. And was friends with Bill Clinton, so if anything, it wouldn't kind of line up. Kind of might be, try to be a Republican, but he won't be able to get a real power third party anyway. Yeah. There's a Rage Against the Machine video where someone's holding a Trump 2020 sign, so it might have been 2000 then. Because I remember he did one in the 90s and one in the 2000s, so, okay, so like Trump 2000 and then... Yeah, I'm sure there's probably, you know, if you look hard enough, probably, you know, some signs of, like, you know, from the 90s, too. It was Wall Street protests, I think. Yeah. Well, I know at least in the 2000, well, so 2000 specifically would be before the elections. Was that during the... Democratic National Convention? Because I know they did a show there and that ended up becoming a riot because the cops, you know, basically broke up the show and broke up the crowd like immediately as soon as Rage Against the Machine stopped playing and they were done. Like, as soon as that happened, the police basically came in and were like, all right, clear up in like 15 minutes or we're declaring this an unlawful assembly and a riot, and basically incited a fucking riot. So, good job, LAPD or San Francisco PD. It was one of those two cities. I think it was San Fran PD, if I remember. They got sent you a Jumbo Joey America fought on D-Day, the Eastern Front, gold medals from Bill Clinton. He got some medals from Bill Clinton and Boris Yeltsin 50 years later. He died in 2004. Nice. Well, not the dying in 2004 part, that's not nice, but getting the medals and shit, that's pretty cool. I mean, that dude's like a fucking legit, like, Giga Chad. You know, there's like a British SES commando that literally, like, fucking went into battle with an umbrella and a bowler hat. Because, you know, and because he basically, you know, was just like, you know, if I'm gonna, you know, be a gentleman, I'm gonna be dressing gentlemanly. Because I think at one point he lost his beret, so he found an umbrella and a bowler hat in, like, some house that was obviously abandoned, so he just plopped the hat on, had the umbrella, and actually it ended up being very useful. Because he used the umbrella as a way to basically, you know, kind of give orders and give signs and point and shit like that. It actually helped as a way to kind of, like, you know, be a kind of like a commanding, you know, thing, you know, for his troops and shit. So instead of just kind of pointing that way, you can actually kind of get a better idea with an umbrella kind of sticking a little bit like that way specifically and kind of, you know, pinpoint more shit like that. So it actually proved very useful. You met General Zukov. Yeah. And also Jack Churchill. Not a fan of Winston, but I think it was his brother? His brother Jack, like, he's kind of a fucking Chad a little bit. I don't know much about his, like, political views, and really, frankly, I don't even care. Like, if you just listen to his stories, what he was doing during his time in World War II. Dude fought with a literal fucking longbow. And at one point, like, he literally played bagpipes and was, like, crossing in the middle of a battlefield, and both sides basically just like, we're not gonna shoot this guy because he's basically just like a lunatic on the battlefield. Like, whatever. Like, they didn't really think anything of him. And also, he just literally casually walked out of a German concentration camp too. Like, him and a couple other dudes just confidently just literally walked right out. No one stopped him. Nobody stopped him. Like, Jack Churchill's another dude that's pretty based. Like, he escaped prison by just kind of walking out of it. Like, casually. I think even he said himself, like, he couldn't believe that happened. Like, and which honestly makes me wonder, like, were German, like, concentration camp guards just, like, drunk on the job or something? Or, like, what, like, were they just a bunch of lushes or something? Because, like, they're seeing, like, I really do, like, know of at least, like, 5+ different stories of people that, like, escaped German concentration camps and shit pretty easily. Like, there was another case where fucking, you know, some dudes that were able to acquire some German uniforms and pretend to be German officers, and basically, you know, and one of them knew German, or I think a couple of them at least knew some German, so they just yelled, open the damn gate very loudly and sternly in German, and the German guards were like, oh shit, you know, like, quickly rushed to open the gates really quick, and just let them through. And then, you know, Jack Churchill's case and shit, you know, so it's like, there's a lot of stories where, like, people really easily sneak out or just, you know, just walk out in some cases, you know, out of these camps. Like, were half the Germans, you know, at these camps, like, drunk or something? Well, frankly, considering what they were probably having to look at all day, yeah, they probably were, honestly, thinking about it. Jumpin' Joe escaped the POW camp in food canisters. See what I mean? Like, that's just crazy. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna hide in some food canisters, and, you know, one guard, you know, decided to not, you know, check them or anything, and just like, food canisters, okay, whatever. It's like, same shit, different day, but wasn't that time. Which makes me think, like, how many, like, prisoners, you know, made these escapes and succeeded? Like, we know of ones that don't because, well, obviously, hear about the cases with survivors who are like, oh yeah, someone tried to escape and they got shot, or whatever the fuck. Or they were caught and made of an example and shit, but, like, how many of them, like, legit do, like, actually escape and then, like, join the partisans and shit like that? Like, there's inmate, 4859. I'm forgetting his name specifically, but if you look up that on Google, his name will pop up like immediately. But he was a Jewish prisoner in Poland, and he basically was able to escape as well, and actually escaped like a bunch of times actually. Like, he joined the partisans when he escaped from Auschwitz, but he would actually go back and forth, so the German garrison, wouldn't really notice him missing. So he would leave, for some time, and then will come back, and, when roll call happens and all that shit, because he will know when, they will be doing those things, especially for where his barrack would be, and he would just show up, back in time just for that, and be like, all right, roll call and all that shit, and make sure that you're, still there or whatever the fuck. And because, he escaped, he ended up able, to eat and stuff like that, and, at least be well-fed looking, at least enough. So he was able to at least, like, pass off to be like, all right, you're still a laborer, you can still work, so they didn't, like, have him on roll call, be like Chambers with you or some shit. So he, like, Machiavellianly, like, amazingly, essentially just fucking, like, made a whole tunnel system, back and forth. And it's also how partisans were actually in Auschwitz itself, because if you read up in the book Night, near the end of the tenure of the camp before the Russians were advancing, partisans snuck guns in there, and were also able to see some weapons from the armory in Auschwitz as well, and were literally having like battles back and forth themselves at one point. And a part of that was because of MA 4859, because he brought some of those guns back with him, when he was fighting with partisans in local towns, in the area. So, straight up, there's like a lot of crazy cool shit, about, like these escape artists, in these different concentration camps, and like some of the stories that, come in with it. Really crazy shit. Just saw the Onion Nuggets thumbnail. I know, dude, I'm looking at it right now. Dude, what? Alright, hold on. What is this guy? Like, what is going on with him? Hey, there's Waldo. But, like, what is going on with my boy there on the left? Like, what happened to him? Who is he? I want to know what news story that guy's in. That guy looks like he either saw some serious shit or he is on a lot of drugs. Or both. 9 minutes. Well, I pages only content I can't watch. No, it's not. Dude, this is public. Dude, right, like, dude, right here, see? Super chats are available, like, I mean, this is not a patron thing, this is public. I gotta go work here anyway, unfortunately. I mean, I just saw the time, so, like, I want, so I'll make sure that I at least have that on that watch history here, y'all. Oh, wait, that's, wait, okay, no, that's it, for some reason, okay. That puts fiction to shame. Nice. But yeah, I'll make sure that's like one of the couple things we delve into, when I come back after work. Who are the hosts today? I think TJ and Scotty. Escaping Canadian Alcatraz.
Escaping from Canadian Alcatraz.
Can I go through here? Just be back by bedtime. Okay.
Yeah, that was basically like how, like, I feel like half of the German guards were in these concentration camps. At least like half of them. Quit job and stay. I value money, unfortunately, because I need it to live. Aw, you little chungus. I'll pay you. No! Like, bruh. I'm already trying to, help you a little bit by bit, you know, at least especially encourage, you know, at least, you know, via encouragement, you know, try to get you to get the fuck out of there. I know inflation, especially and shit, you know, like, obviously things aren't, you know, concurrently making anything better, but, I mean, it's like, god damn it. Honestly, like, I've been, like, watching some of Demon Mama's streams lately, and she, you know, for someone who, like, you know, understands, like, the doom and gloom of things, she's seriously, like, kind of a legit, like, someone who has a lot of, like, passionate, like, fight in her. Which I so immensely fucking value, honestly. Which I kind of find disappointing that so many people kind of, like, just straight up don't like her and shit because, oh, she happens to be too, like, rowdy or fucking, like, aggressive or whatever the fuck, you know, at times because, you know, in the past, you know, she's, you know, like, called people out on their shit or whatever the fuck. And, you know, maybe at times can be pretty, you know, aggressive on some shit, but, like, I mean, goddamn, we just need shit like that, though. I mean, we need that type of spunk. Especially, like, the last couple streams I've been watching, because she did one after Colorado, and then she did one the other day, and both of them were especially pretty fucking great. Ignore wants to be next Stalin. No, I'm an anarchist. Like, Stalin's would purge me. I'd be more in line with, like, helping Trotsky out more than Stalin. Because you know, even with Trotsky's issues, I wouldn't see him purging, like, half the fucking, you know, like, leftists and socialists in his fucking, you know, party and shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't be purging people. Well, he probably would at least, you know, fucking, you know, take out people who are loyal to Stalin, obviously, which, you know, like, if, you know, because, like, he was building his own cult personality, and he did have some loyalists with him, circling around him at that, by this point, you know, when they were kind of beefing. Hence why Stalin yeeted him, and a lot of different people. Because basically Stalin went mob boss on bitches and fucking, you know, just tied up loose ends and shit once he got power. To be honest, I'd be purging if I had power. Well, it just depends on, like, who we'd be talking about. And at least for me, it wouldn't be outright purging. I disagree with her on a lot, but she seems alright. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some stuff I disagree with her on, but either way, I mean, I just, like, you know, despite that, I really do love that she at least has, like, that, you know, spunk and passion, you know, when it comes to at least, you know, being, you know, believing what she does. Like, because at least because of that, I know she actually believes what she, you know, says. And she's actually, like, principled in it. Can't really say that about a lot of people, honestly. I've barely watched her, to be honest. You should check out some of her content. I know she just uploaded a video about the whole shoe on head shit. Which also, if you want to, you know, find out a little bit about what her nonsense and what's up with her, I mean, her video goes pretty in depth about it. Because I was listening and partially watching it on stream when I was at work yesterday. And she, like, basically went in, like, an hour and a half about delving into it. Oh, the whole video is about an hour long. So it's kind of cut down a little bit, but the general gist of everything's on there, though, for sure. And she, like, straight up went in depth. Like, very in depth. So I found her through Hand Reload, and I figured she was SJW, like her. When I first heard of Demon Mama, I thought that, but honestly, like, the more I, you know, listen to her, like, kind of more I check out her content and shit, you know, like, I guess, I mean, well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, like, it's not really, you know, to, like, I don't know, it's not, like, the same degree of, like, oh, you know, it's just, like, you know, I hate a white man type of shit. Like, she's not like that at all. She's, you know, like a, kind of a dirtbag woke lefty, if that makes sense. Like, woke, but also kind of a dirtbag leftist. Because she's okay with words like faggot and shit like that, too. She'll say that on streams occasionally and shit. mainly in context and shit. But you know, she's one of those type of people. You know, she's kind of like TJ almost a little bit. Not totally in personality, but kind of similarly. I mean, they both have ADHD, so I know that there's some similarities with that. And they're both, like, very creative when it comes to, like, having presentation. Like, both of them love doing, a lot of, like, makeup and different aesthetics and shit. So they legit actually both have some commonalities. Actually, I know TJ actually had a stream where he talked of Demon Mama, so that's actually, like, another, good thing, check out some of her shit, too, a little bit. Is just check out her talk with TJ. So... But anyway, gonna catch the last little bit of bow out and head off to work and all that fun shit. I just realized I'm gonna be having to give out a lot of turkey dinners today. At least they're already made. But that's gonna be fun. But anyway, I shall be back later this evening, so we'll have some more fun and all that shit. But anyway, at least for now, peace out, and I'll be back around for that next one. So, it's bada bing, bada